All right. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Corey Factor. I am the Chief Technology Officer here at Sports Digita in the DigiDeck. I've been with the company for quite a few years. I worked a lot with the DMO industry, and over the last several years, we've amassed a great list of partners. And I wanted to just kind of set up a little bit about our approach to AI, based off of lots of conversations with our partners, what they were looking for out of AI. We didn't just run to market and build something really quick. And we talked to them about their desired sort of value of the AI. And there's a couple of things I want to point out that usually come up in the first 5 minutes of any of these AI conversations that I think are important. What our partners were looking for and what we're providing is a really easy to use AI that is still human in the loop. So it was really important to our customers that it's not a background AI process that just goes and does things without any sort of human in the loop. It's to do the things that we've already done in the past, already provided, just in a more automated way. So a couple of things about our AI is we don't use your data or your information to do any training of AI. Nothing happens without your approval before it, so it's really governed. The other thing that they wanted is really predictable results in some case. Just throw some AI terms out there. AI is really non-deterministic. That means you could go to your chat GPT and ask it a question one day, the next day you go ask it the same exact question, and you're going to get slightly different results. That's good in some cases. It's really bad in other cases. And so I think what you'll see is we've tried to blend the power of both into our offering, where there's some very deterministic, very predictable things that will happen based off of how you interact with our platform. And there's other things where we're using the power of AI to help fill in some of those gaps. So again, Jack's really involved with all of our DMO partners. So he's going to go through a demonstration for you. Thank you all for attending, first off, and thank you for your partnerships. It's been a really fun market for us to go after and partner in the DMO space, and a lot more exciting things to come. If you guys have any questions during the demo, feel free to pop those in the chat on the webinar link, and I'll be happy to answer questions real time as we go through. All right, over to you, Jack.
All right, how's it going, everybody? I'm Jack Lawton. I'm our VP of Sales here. Good to see some of our current clients on, and I see that there's a lot of new people as well. So I'm going to start off by explaining kind of the core concept of our product, and then I'll branch more out to the AI pieces. But did just want to say that this is a space that we're very passionate about. A lot of people recognize us as getting our start in sports, but DMOs is actually our second largest industry that we work with. I think we're working with over 40 of the destinations at this point. So it's something we're very passionate about, and it's an industry we were really thinking about when we were coming up with our AI offering, right? A lot of DMOs are using our platform to create, customize, share, and track these dynamic, on-brand bid books, even site itineraries, presentations for events, all that type of stuff. So we really wanted to form our AI offering, around those core use cases and really make it easy to create something that's super dynamic, that stands out, that brings your destination to life for meeting and event planners. So for those current customers out there, this will be a little bit of a review, but I do want to start here again with that core concept of our product, because it really is what allows us to achieve a little bit more of a deterministic nature with our AI offering. And it's something that when we were kind of doing research, kind of coming up with that offering, that we were hearing a lot was that when it comes to presentations and AI, it's just not predictable enough, right? You don't know what you're going to get. You might get this slide this time. It might look, completely off. It might use the wrong colors. It's just not very predictable and thus not very usable, right? So we really wanted to kind of take the approach of creating AI with a seatbelt. And the Master Deck library, which has always been core to our product, really enabled us to do that really well. It was kind of a match made in heaven, like peanut butter and jelly in a lot of ways. And so what the master deck library is basically the heartbeat of our product. Any new DMO that comes on board with us, we essentially gather what you guys are using right now. It might be a PDF, it might be a PowerPoint, it might be nothing in some cases. And we'll take that and we'll kind of form a master deck library of individual slides that are living and breathing that you can manage and then have your team deploy as they see fit in bid books, in site itineraries, or whatever type of presentation you may be doing. So this is an example of one of our partners, Visit San Jose's master deck library of slides. So they have it divided out by chapter, right? They have an introduction chapter, a getting around chapter, proposal chapter, meeting space chapter, additional services chapter. All that stuff is living and breathing, and our AI offering is simply pulling from this master deck library of slides and personalizing them as it sees fit, but with some specific rules put into place that the user or the admins of the account can control. Right. So that's how we're achieving that deterministic nature. Is it's not generating slides out of thin air. It's only pulling from this master deck library, and every single slide in here has the brand standards of the destination hard coded in. So when it's personalizing, it's not using weird colors, using weird fonts. All that's hard coded in. Again, it's like AI with a seatbelt. So I'm going to showcase kind of how easy it is to build a bid book using our AI offering while also pulling in data from Simpleview or iDSS as well, as we know that's very big in the DMO space. So this is the back end of our platform. It's kind of like the home screen that you would see when you log in. So you can see kind of all the recent presentations that have been made by the organization. And then obviously you'll notice the big create a presentation button over here in the top right-hand corner. So we'll go ahead and hit that. We'll give our presentation a title. So let's just pretend that we're doing a bid book for an AVP tennis event. Every single asset that might be needed for a presentation can be stored inside our system as well. So for example, logos, images, whatever it may be, all that is stored in here as well. And then you can tag it and easily find it when you need it. So in this case, I need the AVP logo as I'm creating a bid book for them. So I'll go ahead and select that logo. And what that will do is put that logo in exactly the right spot throughout the presentation. That's done automatically for you. We'll hit next. And this is where DIGI Builder kind of comes into play. And this is what we call our AI offering for DMOs. And essentially, instead of it being kind of like an open-ended kind of prompt AI interface, again, we want to do AI with a seatbelt to make it a little bit easier for people to use. So all you essentially have to do as a user is answer a few questions, and it's going to give you the perfect kind of personalized, again, dynamic, interactive bid book out the other end. Obviously, the Simpleview and the iDSS piece is really big, right? And so how we achieve that is essentially all you do is type in the lead ID of whoever you're making the presentation for, and it's going to pull in all the relevant data and put it in exactly the right spot. And I'll demonstrate what that looks like out the other end. So I simply type in the lead ID, type in the organization name. So in this case, it's AVP. We'll pretend that the person at AVP I'm sending this to is Corey. I'll select the presentation type that it is. Just for demonstration purposes, we have a lot of different names here because we know that some destinations use proposals, some call it a bid book. We've kind of seen a wide variety in this case. I'll just go ahead and select a bid book. Actually, let's leave a proposal in this case, and then it'll actually ask me what hotels I would want to include. So let's go ahead and just select a few of those. It'll ask me for a proposal date, so I'll go ahead and select that. It'll ask me if I want to apply any discounts. I can go ahead and do that. And the magic is that AI is going to take care of the rest. So if I can answer just a few questions and if I can provide the lead ID from iDSS or Simpleview, I can make probably one of the best looking bid books that you'll see out there. It's really that simple. So you can see how quick I was able to do that, got everything answered. I go ahead and hit create. And out the other end, essentially, is going to come the bid book that I had just created. So here it is right here. You'll see that it pulls in the AVP logo, puts it in exactly the right spot. And what the AI essentially did is it looked through, we remember that master deck library. It looked through that and basically selected the slides that I need based on those questions that I answered. And there's logic built in with the AI so that when I answer a question a certain way, it knows to always pull in certain slides based on the question being answered that way. And that's how we achieve that deterministic nature where it's not just making stuff up, right? Because it's basically, okay, if here's a question and I select answer D, always pull in these slides. Now, from there, the AI will personalize them, right? With things like the Simpleview data, or, in this case, an easy way to show some of the personalization that happens is you'll see that in the cover letter here, it pulled in the event name and then it pulled in Corey's name, who had typed in again on that questionnaire there. And then if we go to the kind of hotel accommodations slide, you'll see that it is able to pull in dates, rates, and space, and even some of the comments that live in Simpleview or iDSS can be pulled in as well, as we're seeing right here. So anything that's living on that lead ID or that lead record is able to be pulled in here, and this can be customized to your liking as well. But you can see, how quick I was able to basically generate something that's fully personalized and that has the right content for that specific situation, just based on me answering those questions. So it really is, that simple. And just to showcase kind of what these can look like here's Visit Atlantic City, for example. So each DigiDeck presentation that gets built out of DIGI Builder, our AI offering, right, is really going to be almost like a micro-targeted website in a way, right? But it's a presentation. So you can see Visit Atlantic City has like video in the background. One thing I know that's really popular in the industry as well is kind of these interactive hotel maps as well. So if we go to theirs here, you can kind of see a map of the destination. If I go ahead and click on one of these locations, it will actually pull up with a ton of information for that specific location, right? And so really creating that interactive experience. The other thing you're noticing as well is that I can jump to right where I care about, right? So gone are the days of me getting a PDF or a PowerPoint, hitting the arrow or scrolling through a million different things. It navigates just like a website, so I can jump to exactly where I want in just a few seconds and get the information that I need. It's all about creating a better experience for whoever's on the receiving end of one of these bid books or just presentations as a whole, right? And so that's really something that we take pride in. But yeah, it's really easy to use. It takes the kind of open-ended prompting nature out of AI, right? It's simply just answering a few questions. And if you answer a few questions, all of a sudden you have something that looks this great, that's fully personalized, and even pulling in a lot of the dates, rates, and space from Simpleview or iDSS. So that's kind of part one of our AI offering. The other thing that we heard a lot of in terms of needs or wants when talking about AI is kind of really, if I can just click around here, is kind of really also having all the assistant capabilities that AI offers. So we essentially create a button down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the platform. We call this Digi Present. And think of this as basically a window that it functions like a ChatGPT or a Claude or whatever it may be, except directly in our platform. So I can technically come in here and say, what's the weather today? Rewrite an email for me. Write an email to send along with my bid book. You can create presentations out of here, right? I could come in here and say, build me a bid book for Target, and it's able to do that. It'll be a little bit less personalized or deterministic than answering the questionnaire that is DIGI Builder, right? But we still do offer that functionality if you so choose. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. If you want the AI with a seatbelt, that's DIGI Builder. If you want the more open-ended prompting of AI, that's what this window is with DIGI Present, right? And it really is as simple as coming in here and saying, build me a bid book for Target. And basically, it's going to do something similar where it's going to look at the slides from the master deck library, and then it's going to personalize them. The big differentiator is it's going to be more liberal with how it personalizes those slides versus with the questionnaire, it's very specific because rules are kind of hard coded in, again, AI with a seatbelt, to where the personalization is happening in a very specific way. So you have both options available to you. But moral of the story is we want to make it super easy to create, customize, and share the best bid book that anyone has ever laid their eyes on in just a few seconds, so that you can spend time doing more fun things with your day than doing that. So I'll stop right there, Corey. I know I've gone through quite a bit. Is there anything you want to add? Um,
So I think just that contrast between highly deterministic and a little bit more open-ended, there are capabilities in the platform where you can fine-tune some of the general chat as well. It's not out of the box, but it is where you could go in and say, hey, anytime you're creating a presentation, you must do these types of things. So you can do that. But you don't always know the way the user is going to ask for those sort of things. So there are ways that we can put those enforcements in the AI as well. And we found most customers kind of like a blend of both. Typically, the admins like more of the open-ended piece, and then your general sales team likes the more predictable and answering the questions sort of piece.
And the other piece, again, I like to highlight that'll make it a little bit easier to understand, probably Corey as well, is just because everything that the AI is doing is pulling from that centralized repository, that master deck library of slides that I was just showing, you can literally like basically think of it as like little roadblocks so that the AI can't mess with certain things. So like I'll kind of demonstrate that, for example. So like here's a cover letter slide. If I go ahead and select kind of, this area where this text box is, I can hit this lock button right here, and that basically will make it so that the AI cannot mess with this text, right? So again, I can like really direct it with a seatbelt of like, okay, it's okay to personalize here. It's not okay to personalize here, really giving you that full control. Because one thing that a lot of people come to us for is they want to make sure that every single bid book or just presentation that's coming out of their organization is on brand, using their fonts, their colors, even some of their methodology. If you have like a sales methodology, that can be built in as well. So really giving you that, again, that full control so that you're not out there just generating a bunch of AI slop of, who knows what, right? You have that control to make sure that everything that's coming out is above board, but not losing all the greatness of AI, which is the speed and the personalization aspect. But it really does need a seatbelt from what we've seen early on from talking to a lot of people who are out there using a chat GPT for some of these things where it just kind of makes stuff up as it goes. So really wanted to solve that problem for people.
Just a note here, Jack. Somebody asked the question: what if our team uses Claude today? We do have what's called an MCP connector to Claude, so that general chat interface that Jack was showing you. Just imagine that that's connected to your Claude. And so you can go into Claude and you can say, I want to create a new DigiDeck presentation. If you have your Claude connected to other sources of data like your CRM, you then can have it retrieve the information and create the presentation all from a singular interface.
I have a just demonstration of that, Corey. So we use
Perfect.
Claude. We use Claude as well. So recently, I just basically came in here. This was more for our organization, so not an example from a DMO, but needed to build a proposal. And our Claude is hooked up to a couple different sources like Zoom transcripts. We use Salesforce, some of that stuff. And basically, I came in here, said, build me a proposal, insert the company name. It basically referenced, all of our data, kind of how DIGI Builder references Simpleview. It references Salesforce in our case to pull in pricing, kind of like the Simpleview integration I was showcasing. And basically within just a few minutes, I ended up with this link and there's the deck that I need. And again, it's on brand, using only slides from the master deck library, personalizing them in exactly the right spots because we've, locked certain areas so that it can't be personalized. And I was on with my day, right? And I used to use PowerPoint, used to use PDF. I mean, it would take me hours to produce something that doesn't look as good, right? So the fact that you can produce something that's this dynamic, this interactive, but within just minutes, I mean, it'll change your life in certain ways if you're somebody that's doing this quite often, to be honest.
Great. So hopefully that answers the question about Claude. I think Jack's team on our sales team pretty much lives out of Claude when they're creating their presentations. So that's a workflow and path that we're very, very familiar with. Uh, Another question, can we have more than one deck in the platform? Absolutely. So I just want to be clear is that there's a master deck is sort of your starting point of all of your slides and content, and then you create a presentation by utilizing those slides. And you can have obviously unlimited number of presentations, but you can also have multiple master decks. Some of the reasons you might want to have multiple master decks, maybe it's a totally different use case where it's a different set of users and different content. Maybe it's a totally different brand, although sometimes we have customers that use some functionality we have to have multiple brands within a single deck. So it's sort of a decision tree that we go down. But yes, some customers have one master deck. We've got customers that has 125 master decks. So it just depends on your need, but you can definitely have more than a single master deck.
And I'll just add, Corey, and I can show it. I mean, if you don't want to use, AI to build something out of DigiDeck, you certainly don't have to. So you have this like select slides option here. And this will pull up that master deck library that I was just showcasing, and it will allow me just to simply select, what slides I want for that specific presentation. Now, again, none of that personalization will be happening. You'd have to do that manually in that case. But if you do want to do it this way, you certainly have that flexibility as well. So this master deck library, think of it as like being modular, right? It's not just like one finished deck, each slide's its own living kind of thing. Well, I know somebody's got some hard questions.
Yeah, I was answering a couple of them typing back. So there was a question about who builds the master slide library, that the DMO or your team. And I did type out this answer, but we do have services available to help you with that. The most common pattern is for our team to help you build out the first set of slides. So we help design out the master deck for you and all of the content that goes into that. And then at that point, we train you as an admin on how to build your own slides. Because our team that is building the slides, they're using the same tools that you have access to. And so there's no sort of technical limitation from you being able to create your own slides. But some customers choose to use our services team on an ongoing basis. And whichever you want is fine. So we can help you as much or as little as you need, but we found it really valuable to help on that first to get up and running and create that first set of slides for your master deck.
And it's really as simple, like, like Corey said, typically we'll build out the first 20, and DMOs commonly ask us to help kind of build out like the interactive slide map, right? Like this is something we really specialize in just because we work with so many different destinations. So we know how to do this really well. So typically, when you buy us, you get those first 20 slides included. Typically it's these type of slides that we're working on. But then after that, when you want to add in a slide yourself, it's literally as simple as going to that master deck library of slides, hitting this add button in the top left-hand corner. You hit the create slide button. You choose the chapter that you want that new slide to go into. You hit continue. And what you'll see here is a bunch of different templates. And this is also something that we set up during the onboarding or implementation of the product, right? So these are kind of hard coded in. So it's not just like randomness. You're picking off a defined template that's been approved that the organization's okay with. You go ahead and click one, you give it a title, and you get the general idea, right? So it's really easy to add new slides as you see fit. Typically, that's done by the admins, right? The admins are the ones that are controlling what's going in this library, and then the individual users are using things like that questionnaire or DIGI Builder that I showed, or the AI chat, or selecting the slides manually to build each and every single presentation. So the admin essentially manages everything. The users reap the benefit of being able to quickly build.
So a couple questions about the licensing cost structure, because we have a mix of new customers and existing customers. So for existing customers, It's an additional cost, and the cost is dependent upon sort of your current contract structure. And we have customers that have been with us for 8 to 10 years, and we have customers that have been with us a year. So there's no global default answer for that around existing customers. And happy to, if you guys want to reach out to me. Otherwise, you can reach out to your customer success manager. But happy to have that conversation with anybody on an individual basis. Um, So another question is the AI and ability to speak to the CRM an add-on feature, not separately. So it's either AI enabled, which includes the MCP interface and the Digi Present and the Digi Builder, all the things that Jack went through, or you don't have it. So it's not an additional cost to connect to your CRM once you have the AI. All right. Can the decks be saved as PDFs and or PowerPoints? I'll let you handle that one, Jack.
Yes, they can. That is something that we've really worked hard on to make sure is available, and it is now available. So yes, you have the option to do either or if need be. And we also have an offline app as well if you want to still have all the interactiveness and kind of this look and feel, because obviously on a PDF or PowerPoint it becomes more static, but we do have an offline app as well if you want to still be able to use the kind of interactive nature. So
Yeah,
you
and
have
I'll
all three options.
and I'll just add on to the export to PowerPoint. It's not taking screenshots of everything on the screen and making a uneditable PowerPoint. It's actually creating a editable PowerPoint. But obviously, there's things people love about our platform, like the scrolling images, some of the animation. And so PowerPoint doesn't have that. So you will see some, definitely a difference in the visual experience, but it will get the content out to a editable PowerPoint. Question about can any user create a master deck, or do you have to be the platform admin? You definitely have to be the admin. And you guys, our customers have control over who they give the rights to be an admin or the rights of just who's a regular user. So most of the time it's a handful, 3 to 6 sort of marketing people that have Master Deck admin access, and the rest of everybody else is a normal user. How long is the setup process, Jack? How long does it take to get somebody up and running?
So right now, typically is only 9 to 11 days. If you can get us kind of your brand guidelines and then kind of the existing stuff you're using, I mean, we can get it up and going within 9 to 11 days. So really, really quick at this point. Something we have actually used AI for internally is to help kind of improve how fast we can get that initial master deck library and the product set up for people. So something that we're really proud to talk about. And yeah, it's very, very quick. And with the DMOs in particular, because we've done so many, I mean, in some cases we can do it even quicker than that, because we even offer like a specific package that's priced for destinations. So it's just something that, again, it's our second biggest industry that we work with. So we can get them going pretty quick.
Yep. Usually the longest part of the process is having you gather your assets and getting them over to us. We help you with that, but we can launch them pretty quickly.
And we even have some people that are like, we don't even use anything except like a PDF. Like we don't have much. Can you use our website? And we can do quite a bit just from the website as well, if that's the option that you guys want to go down.
Great.
Well, wait. Sorry, go ahead, Corey.
I was just going to say, if there's interest in having a deeper integration discussion about your CRM platform, Happy to schedule that with one of our solution engineers. That's the team that sort of helps get that up and running. It's pretty quick to get up and running, and everybody has a little bit different version of their CRM. We work with a lot of them, but happy to dive into that deeper on a sort of technical call if anybody has interest in evaluating that. One thing I was thinking about, Jack, do you want to show on this one just that cover letter in the master deck, just to let people understand how easy it is to make modifications when you're pulling in that data? Um,
Mhm.
I just noticed when you went to that in the introduction chapter in the cover letter slide, yeah, that very first slide. Uh, it can be as easy as adding the data placeholders, like you guys will see here where it says event. That's basically the placeholder in the master deck. And then when you create that individual presentation, it just swaps that out. So that's one of the basic functionality of Builder is that sort of mail merge functionality. Um, so I just want to point that out is that integration is not like a hardened in integration where you have to contact us to make changes to your contact. You'll have a list of the data merge fields available. You can easily drop those into any of your content.
And it is really easy too. I mean, it needs to be said just by hand, right? Like if I did want to do something by hand, you can absolutely do that, right? So I can come in here, just select and then, type in the edit that I need. And the nice part is the font and the brand standards and all that's hard coded in. So even when I go in here and make an edit, it doesn't really allow me to make the font a bad size or use the wrong color, right? Like if I go up to this color area here, they've chosen to make every color available, but a lot of brands will only make, 3 colors available that they're okay with, like things like that. So even if people do need to go make edits, you really can't screw it up because it's kind of hard coded in, certain things to prevent you from making it look wonky. But you absolutely have the flexibility to edit it kind of normally or in a more traditional way.
Great. Well, we're going on about 35 minutes here. We haven't lost anybody yet, but the questions have slowed down a little bit. Um, any sort of closing thoughts you want to leave everybody with, Jack?
I mean, I would just say that what we're showing here is probably not even half of what the platform can do. I mean, I think if you guys are making bid books and, have interest in trying to acquire more events or conferences or whatever it may be to the destination, we certainly have a lot of experience in the industry, have some really good data around what types of content works and what types of content doesn't work. We just kind of have, again, because we have so many DMOs using our platform, and we also have detailed analytics behind each and every single presentation. So I'll just show an example of that. So every presentation that gets sent out, you'll know exactly who opened it, where they opened it, what kind of device they opened at, but more importantly, you'll know specifically what they looked at within the bid book or the proposal, or even if it's a site itinerary, whatever it may be. And teams really like this because it kind of dictates and allows you, especially if you're a small team, to prioritize properly. And once we prioritize properly, how do you actually do the follow up, right? So if you got 30 presentations or 30 bid books out there, to follow up with these 5 because they're the 5 that have actually been engaged with. And then more specifically, what was actually engaged with. So when you do that follow up, you can make the follow up about the specific area or item that was engaged with the most to kind of advance things along. So certainly something that people seem to gravitate towards. But because of this data and because of all the destinations we work with, like we know what types of content seems to get engaged with the most. So we can certainly kind of be like your trusted advisors on that if you're looking to kind of really bring the experience of creating your bid books and proposals, site itineraries, in conference presentations to life. We can certainly help with that in terms of what content is missing that's not there, I guess, in some ways. The last piece that I know we were going to show Corey as well, that was something I've learned from the destinations, is just being able to kind of share these presentations via a QR code. So typically, it's just a link is the way that it's shared, right? So like you can text it, email it, whatever it may be. You can convert it to a PDF, convert it to a PowerPoint if you want to share it that way. But you also have this QR code. And we see a lot of destinations kind of like put this on like a business card. And so that QR code then just gets scanned and it'll bring you to the specific presentation um, as well, which is really cool. So I know it's been something that a lot of the destinations asked for. And so we went ahead and made it.
Great. One more question here is what is the percentage of planners opening the document?
Mhm. So Corey, do you think you want me to showcase kind of the recent little research that we did
Yes,
potentially?
I was thinking that that was perfect. So I love the question to put us on the spot a little bit, and it's something we obviously look at quite a bit. And uh, that's how to measure the value of it, right? Is how much engagement are you getting from it? So we just recently did a study on this, and Jack can share some of those numbers. Now, I don't know that we don't have just DMO specific, right?
We do have I do have
You
DMO
do.
specific actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
So this is some kind of data I was pulling, looking across 4,925 unique planners across 17,209 viewing sessions across five of our larger DMO organizations. And so can start to see some interesting data like, that hotel availability and room block content, by far the most viewed, 94 hours of total view time across those 17,000 sessions by the 4,000 plus planners, right? So this is what I was talking about. If we start to really see like what is the content that really seems to resonate in terms of actual engagement versus like a static PDF or PowerPoint, on average, somebody is or a planner is spending about 5.3 minutes inside the DigiDeck presentation versus 2.4 minutes on average for a static PowerPoint or PDF. It's 118% difference. And that just goes to show when you're putting something in front of them that wows them, that's interactive, that allows them to, see video, really bring the destination to life. It makes the world a difference. We even have other data that kind of showcases like how often does somebody open it and leave within the first 10 seconds. With a PDF or PowerPoint, it's about 31% of the time. With DigiDeck, cut that down to about 18%. It's a 48% difference, right? So you start to really see the impact that this can have, particularly just how long you're getting people to engage with your content. I mean, 118% difference is pretty significant. Then you factor in that you're churning these out significantly faster, right? So you're creating something that looks way better in a fraction of the time. I mean, it's the double whammy of what you're looking for. So, and we have other, there's other very kinds of interesting data. Like one thing that was very interesting, Corey, to me with the destinations in particular is that compared to the other industries we work with, not a lot of these get viewed on mobile, which I thought was pretty interesting. Our platform works very well with mobile. It's something that we've prioritized because other industries really ask for it. But only seeing about 4.3% of those 17,000 plus opens being on mobile. It's not a super high number compared to the other industries that we work with. So very, very interesting.
Yeah,
Kind of, Mhm.
that is interesting. Planners must be sitting at their desk a lot. And I know some of the bid books can have an awful lot of grids of pricing data and things like that. So it kind of makes sense. It's not just a video or two. So that kind of makes sense. If I'm going to consume this, I would be looking at it on my desktop.
And just a little bit more on the engagement too. So it kind of like ranked, kind of did some tiers here across those 17,000 sessions. So 41% of the 17,000 opens were categorized as hot. And what that means is that the planner came back or they viewed the initial kind of bid book for 3+ minutes and they went 8 slides deep, right? So 41% of the time you're getting really serious, like serious deep engagement, which is pretty interesting to see for sure.
And all of these stats again are available to you as a user. This is just an aggregate across some of our customers, so you guys have real-time access to all of this data as well.
Mhm. Yes. And we can certainly kind of, again, help with those best practices because we can see which of our destinations perform the best on things like engagement, view time, and all that, and are certainly willing to bring to the table. Why might that be, right? Like one simple one is that we see executive summaries, the top three most viewed kind of slide out of those 17,000 sessions. There's quite a bit of destinations that didn't have that, right? And so like that's the type of stuff we can say like, hey, we know this is something that seems to resonate really well. Let us kind of be your guide on how to actually create that piece of content.
Um, okay, so another question here. Can a planner download the bid book once they receive it or the pages that put into a format such as a PDF to keep it in their system? No. By default, we don't give them access to be able to download and take the content offline because you lose your analytics. You can create a PDF of the presentation. In fact, you can create a PDF of the presentation, then add that PDF to a link on the presentation that you send them. So if you wanted to give them the option to view it as a PDF, you could. But certainly by default, we don't let them take the presentations offline.
Corey, let me show that because I know it's such a big thing to be able to showcase kind of like how a PDF can be um, live on a slide. So let me go ahead and show that. I just have a slide that kind of showcases all the different ways, but you could literally make a PDF of that specific bid book. And like Corey said, just basically put it on a slide. So I'll show what I'm talking about here. So that makes sense. So inside our platform, we have these things called components. They're basically these like kind of interactive elements that you can plug and play on a slide. And so we have several different PDF components. So what you're seeing here is you can have like one, two, three different PDFs. You click on it, and it will actually bring that PDF up, and you are able, as you can see, able to download it as well. If you don't like that kind of structure, you can have the PDF displayed this way. It's fully scrollable on the slide. And then again, you can download it right here. So you could literally create the PDF version of that bid book and then just have it on a slide. So theoretically, yes, you could create the functionality of allowing a planner just to download it right there if they want.
Great. Any other questions? I think we covered them all so far.
Lots of good questions.
Great questions. All right. Well, I think we covered everything. Again, appreciate everybody joining us today, and the interactions were great. Good questions, and again, happy to connect individually or talk for your existing customers. If you want to reach out to me or your CSMs, happy to dive deeper into the integrations or the AI at any time. All right. Well, great work, Jack, as always. And this was fun. So thanks everybody for joining and have a great rest of your week and weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Bye.